All right. Welcome to Options Hour. I'm your host, Brandon, and your host, Guillaume Lambert. And
Hello.
we're very excited for Options Hour 28, second Options Hour of the new year. We had some pretty bad technical difficulties last time. It looks like hopefully this time things are smooth and are being recorded here on YouTube and also live in Discord. We're very excited to be sharing about the predictions of 2025. So I'm not sure what predictions has for us, but we're excited to hear whatever predictions and forecasts he has, whether that is for the market or for DeFi options. And then we'll see from him a live screen share of app.panoptic.xyz. It's our app that just launched last month, where you can trade DeFi options. We're going to see a masterclass rundown of how to use the app and how to be more successful at options trading. Take it away.
Yeah, amazing. Thanks, Brendan. So yeah, Brendan is the head of research at Panoptic, and then he will at some point maybe not today, but share some of the insights on the research side. Today will be again maybe a one-on-one class, just going over the interface, having a better idea of how maybe I use it, how I look at it, and then you guys also can see it as well. And again, before starting, I'm just gonna go over the few items that are always maybe that we'll go over is when we start these live streams. First is the TVL on Panoptic, slowly growing since we launched earlier in December. About to hit a million TVL, so very excited about this milestone. But it's been growing. It was a bit quiet over the holidays. Now it's growing back again. So that's gonna be something that we watch closely. $1 million is a huge milestone. I'll go over. It's actually pretty impressive. Most of those of that liquidity is actually utilized, so it's not just passive liquidity that people kind of set it and forget it. A lot of it is used to sell options and buy options as well. So this is kind of very very exciting. So TVL is going well.
Also that liquidity is completely organic. So you might be looking at this and thinking, why is there only a million there, or just under a million? It is a completely organic from our users, and if you're early, you can earn points. So the earlier you are, people are earning a lot of points right now.
Yeah, exactly. And this is also a bit by design, but yes, the points tally and the balances will be published this week. So it's also maybe a sneak peek for those that were there for the very very beginning, and we were the early users. We will have a leaderboard. We have something that's going to be updated every day or even every hour. But for now, those that were depositing did this kind of in the dark a little bit. They knew there were some points being distributed, not quite there, not quite where. And yeah, you'll see. Hopefully, yeah, the tally will show how much of that went to you if you're a seller, buyer, or just a passive LP. Another thing that is somewhat interesting that we can always look at is the current prices. How the prices have been moving over the past few days, even the past few hours now. On Ethereum, it was repressed at 3,200. It jumped quite a bit again, 5% jump. This happened following a sudden drop as well, so it's all back to where it was a week ago. So all of it is choppy. And then I was talking about this last week, but when we launched was about here. Oh wait, at the Pico top here. And then immediately after launching, 2 hours later, it crashed quite heavily, like 10% crash. We stayed back and forth, but at the end, it's really choppy. We were able to survive that initial crash. I personally had sold options, but I was fine. It's actually kind of hard to be liquidated when you're managing your risk well. So in that case, I was fine, even though it was a 10% drawdown. And that's the power of options. You can actually have some protection. But yeah, recent price, if you look at the price jump, it's actually quite mild compared to everything else. But yeah, at the end of the day, violent moves to the downside, slow growth. This is what we're seeing. So that's kind of the thing
Would
about.
you say we're in a bear market right now?
I don't
Or?
know. It's pretty. The maybe in 4 days, 5 days, it's gonna change. Of course, November made like with Trump, of course, but there's a change in sentiment for sure, and it got reflected in the price of the ETH. Now maybe we're just waiting at and seeing. Maybe executive order, I don't know, 6 will be something about crypto, so that may push it up. So that's maybe what people are saying. They're waiting on the sidelines. Again, I'm always an risk on type of trader. So regardless of the conditions, there's a strategy for you. So here, this was actually pretty steady for price action, but also good for options traders. You can benefit when it's not moving much. These jumps of price, cost, and volatility is also very good and reflected on the on the supply or the stream that you're earning. So I don't know if you have any other coins, Brendan, that you're holding or watching closely, but they all seem to have this recent jump. Any comment on your side about the current market conditions?
I'm wondering how Colt's doing, the new Milady coin.
Oh yeah, that's right. So oops, we had a let me find it. But yeah, we tried to do meme coins because we can do meme coins on we can do options on all assets. So Colt is the Milady Colt coin, very appropriate name. Milady holders aren't really holding, so the price has gone down. But in our case, we have a healthy Colt market with some options being sold. You could have been buying puts, I guess, and benefiting on the way down, or selling calls. And maybe, yeah, we can jump to the interface right away. But Colt is one of those markets that have a pips attribution. So here we have ETH, USDC, ETH, BTC, and Colt. So we'll go back to that page. But on the Colt page, we see there's a pips logo here. It's earning pips. We see some level of activity. Someone sold one call, so they're earning all the pips. But yeah, this is the liquidity that's owned by the Panoptic traders and holders. This is the liquidity that's owned by the Uniswap holders. So two tales of two cities, I guess. We have a tiny bit here. Uniswap still dwarfs all of it. But yeah, if you want to buy a call on Colt, you think price is going to reverse and go to the moon after it hit the low bottom of whatever 0.015, and that's your chance.
Do you know the ETH Colt price? Because
yeah,
that's the Colt price here, but we got the Colt ETH options. I wonder.
That's true. Yeah. This is also how I think. A lot of my trades are ETH denominated, so it still went down. So even more so, I'd say, than in ETH real prices. So maybe it's also an opportunity to buy a call here if you're a Colt bull.
Yes. I have a question in the chat here about when XRP options.
Oh,
how's the Ripple market doing a comeback?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's a wrap version of Ripple somewhere on ETH. Again, we're mostly on ETH. We have just the again. Let me go back. Yeah, I don't know actually how the Colt side of the market, the XRP side. A lot of folks are actually, holding XRP from 20 years ago, almost, no, since the beginning. So they may be very eager to see options being traded as well. But yeah, personally, I don't know. I haven't been able to see or use XRP options actually.
Yeah, if you look at the XRP ETH chart, it's way up. XRP
yeah, that's right.
Now way out for
in ETH denominated prices. XRP is gonna catch up and become larger than ETH like it was for a while.
In market cap, yeah. It's up over 400% against ETH in the last 6 months.
I believe it. Again, it's also November turnaround. I mean, they were in legal limbo for so long that anyone that had to sell sold long time ago. Look at this chart. And now it's just people maybe saying, oh wait, that's right, I was bullish, I used to be, so let me buy it back. But yeah, cool. So yeah, that's kind of the market is bullish today. It's all green. Even in TradFi, a lot of the volatility is going down. Most markets are up, and then this is kind of a good day maybe for traders. So we'll see how it lasts, but this is actually pretty good. I don't know if a lot of this is maybe timing, even with the opening of the markets on regular markets. So yeah, just a second. around 8 or 9. Yeah, 8 a.m. So maybe this is also triggered by TradFi sentiment. But yeah, very cool. So interesting overview. Market's green. Everybody should be happy. Let me go back to the main Panoptic dashboard, and I'll do a quick overview of the trading app and how kind of you as a user, or if you are watching live or on the live stream, you can go through maybe the same steps that I have in mind and we had in mind when we created that the interface, and then you can see whether it's a good day to trade or not, and that's kind of the idea. So when you land on the app.panoptic.xyz, again, I'm from the US, so I'm access restricted. We'll change it a little bit. For now, it's a bit bare, but the discover section is maybe where you should first bring your attention to, because we list the markets that have a pips allocation. Again, is this purple logo. On that card, we also show the IV, which is the implied volatility of these pairs. So ETH USDC has a 58% IV. ETH BTC has the ratio, has a lower IV, because these two markets are correlated. So ETH and BTC kind of work together. In dollar term, ETH is 58% IV. In BTC term, it's only 28% IV. And Colt, the meme coin, of course, we expect a much higher implied volatility, much shortness, a lot of trading, a lot of price moves. So this one has 100% IV. And we could go around this wrapped II coin at 130. We have also Eigen and ETH, 64%. And again, remember, they may be correlated, but now Eigen has a healthy 64% IV. And as a market participant, we also show like the change in IV. That's the recent ones. It seems the IV is down as well. Even though it was 58 now, it's lower. It's lower than it was yesterday. Most of the IVs are going down except wrapped II coin. But one of the core measures for an options trader is that IV, and that's why we show it on the main interface. And to give some comparison, like so Tesla stock, IBM has 30%. S&P 500, which is kind of the largest companies, has maybe 15-20%. So the more the more active a market is, typically the higher the IV. And in that case, we see this a little bit. And the less traded it is, sometimes it also has a much higher IV. And that's kind of the first step. Go to the IV. In that case, I would say, okay, I want to explore a bit more the ETH USDC pair. This is the one that we kind of sponsor. We sponsor with pips. But from that page, brief overview, you can narrow down to a market. On the markets page, we show some stats. And again, all of this is very quantitative. The first one we show is the Uniswap specific stats. In that case, we show the TVL in Uniswap, the volume, the fees on Uniswap, also the IV. And then here we also show the IV percentile, which is kind of how's the IV compared to itself over the past 30 days. And here it's in the 33rd percentile. It's not the highest, but it's not the lowest. It's kind of in a good range. So that IV goes back and forth. If it's the 100th percentile, it's the highest it's ever been in a while. If it's 0, it's the lowest. So that's kind of one way to say, yes, the IV is 58%, but within itself, it's kind of mid to low range. So that's kind of the first information. You can find this on the Uniswap website as well. We can also see the Uniswap liquidity. This is the liquidity chart of Uniswap depositors, or those that LP in Uniswap. We see the current price. You can drag around and look at the different values. There's some liquidity here that seems to be orphaned. It's out of range, doing nothing. And if you tally it up, it's like millions of dollars. So that's kind of what people deposited or created as LP or liquidity providers on Uniswap. This is likely a range order type of thing. So they expect the price to go up. So they are okay with selling the ETH at the 4,000-ish mark, or maybe 4,500 mark as well. And that's why we have this huge liquidity. That's kind of the Uniswap liquidity. We have the Panoptic liquidity. This is the liquidity that is owned by the Panoptic protocol and deployed in the Uniswap pool. And it's a different shape. It's a bit more kind of narrowly focused, but still pretty well centered with the current price. And this is actually people deposit liquidity in the Panoptic pool. Sellers move that liquidity into Uniswap to sell an option. So this is kind of the shape that it has of all the selling activity. And that's the liquidity that you see. We can hover and there's like few ETHs of liquidity, a few $1,000 at each strike. So this is kind of us, the contribution of Panoptic to the Uniswap pool. On this region, we have the Panoptic stats. This one has the ETH USDC balances. So the Uniswap pool has ETH and USDC in range in different areas. In Panoptic, we have first liquidity that's deposited and sitting in the Panoptic pool smart contract. And then this liquidity is moving to the Uniswap V3 smart contract. So in that case, we look at the total TVL of the USDC pool, USDC side of the Panoptic pool, that's 250K, and 185 or 187 ETH of liquidity in the Panoptic pool. And we show the utilization. So out of that liquidity that's deposited, 70% of the USDC has been moved in Panoptic. And that's the utilization. So one key metric to look at is also the utilization of a token within the Uniswap pool. If the utilization is high, that means that there's a lot of selling happening, and a lot of maybe the sentiment may be bullish. You sell a put option, the price is going to go up. If you want to be bearish, you sell call options. So there's much less options that have been sold, I guess, on the ETH side. And that's kind of one way. Another way to think about this as well is that when you sell an option, it goes into Uniswap. When you buy an option, you move liquidity back to Panoptic. So what really is happening here is that the TVL on ETH is kind of low utilization, but as I'll show, it's actually because a lot of people are buying calls as well. And that is moving liquidity back to the Panoptic pool and kind of restoring the utilization. So a lot of what we see is that, I'm not going to go to it, but there's a lot of selling that happens in both pools. There's more buying of calls than buying of puts. And that's why the utilization is a bit different. And both of them, again, indicate a bullish trend for Panoptic traders. They expect the price to go up, so they borrow some, they buy some ETH, options. It calls to kind of capitalize on the upswing, or they sell puts, which is kind of hoping that the price stays inbound or goes up, and then they can make the fees out of that. So the utilization is a good indicator of the market sentiment. At the same time, we show the APY of the users that have been depositing into the Panoptic pool. Again, you deposit into Panoptic. These funds can be lent out and borrowed by the traders, and they pay a commission fee on that activity. So they are just paying passive LPs at the tune of 18% and 24% APY. This is since the origin of the pool a month ago, so we'll probably switch to monthly APYs annualized. We haven't gone 1 month left, but the monthly APY as of now is very healthy, 24 to 17%. So actually, I'm just going to stop there. This is the overview of how you explore a market on Panoptic. We show, again, from the Uniswap stats, we see how much is traded, how is the IV impacted, but also we show some information about the Panoptic stats. And yeah, maybe I'll stop here from now, and then maybe if Brandon has any comments or thing to share for now, but yeah. I think that'll.
Yeah, no, this is awesome. I learned a lot just now from what you're saying about the utilization. So that's really cool. You can see the bullish or bearish sentiment based off of whether the quote USDC or the asset ETH is being utilized more. So with the quote being utilized more, people are a bit more bullish on the ETH USDC price here. That's really interesting to see. I also want to point out that APY there, or the realized return at least, there, the 24% is what the passive LPs have been making. And so it seems like since that USDC side is so popular with being bullish, it would make sense to passive LP some of that USDC in the Panoptic because it's so popular. You're providing single-sided liquidity, and you'd be earning a nice yield from options traders that are borrowing that USDC. So that looks like a nice juicy yield. I think you see these higher yields when protocols first launch and things are early, and so it's a nice chance to be participating. Not even talking about the pips or the points. You know, this organic kind of native yield already built into the ETH USDC market on Panoptic is quite high here. I think some people didn't even believe the the yield numbers, and rightfully so. Because when you see high numbers, single-sided deposits, I'd be skeptical too. But this is a very nice, juicy yields we have here.
Yeah, definitely. And this is kind of the inefficiencies of the market. If you are a holder of ETH, there's a few things you can do with your ETH, which is staking it or maybe lending out on Aave, but there's not much more you can do. It's actually kind of restricted. So it means that the yields could also be capped to the natural staking yields on like the validating of ETH, of running on a validator. So that's kind of 2.5 to 3%. So you cannot go much more higher than that because there's a floor. And if you make 0.1% yield, no one's going to go there. So on the ETH side, what we can offer as well is this upper range of risk, but also upper range of return, because you're lending to market makers and traders. And they may be happy paying 5, 10, 20% per year on that borrowing rate because they can make 50 or 60% more as well. So they are tapping into a more volatile activity if you want, but that more volatile increases the yields as well. And the USDC yields on Aave are much higher than ETH because people are borrowing USDC. So what we're bringing is the two-sided of the market can be borrowed. Two-sided of the market can actually be tapped into. So I'm just going to go briefly over the BTC side as well. This one is a bit more healthy, but we have 36% utilization on the BTC side, 25% utilization on the ETH side. So it's a bit more even market, but 13 and 14% APY on BTC and ETH. So again, even on BTC, it's actually pretty unheard of that you can get such high yields, but that's kind of what we do. We can offer. So the borrowers that are selling options are paying more. This flows back to the passive LPs kind of quite naturally. And yeah, so that's how you look at the market page, how you interact and see the relevant quantities. I always like to compare the liquidity on, say, Panoptic and Uniswap so we can overlay them. But even ETH BTC is another example where the liquidity is actually pretty widely distributed and you have a lot of liquidity far out of range here, whereas Panoptic is a lot more focused on the main price. And that's because as an LP, you should earn money all the time. If the position is out of range, you should actually be closing it, redeploying it. If you do it on Uniswap, it's actually less clear what to do because you have to swap, maybe rebalance. In Panoptic, because it's borrowed funds, you borrow ETH only, and you have to pay back ETH. So all of the swapping, all of the rebalancing happens automatically. So you don't even have to worry. If your position is making money, but it's out of range, you just can close it, redeploy, and not have to worry about rebalancing it and swapping tokens. So that's why maybe some of these large positions that are out of range, they can wait for the price to move back up, but they're not earning fees. So that's why a lot of what we expect is that there should be a lot more emphasis on being in range. And a sneak peek, we have the options chain here, which is all the options that have been sold. And all of them are currently in range. So we show this is one position between 0.025 to 0.04 ETH per BTC. The ratio price is right in the middle, but all of that position is in range, and the sellers make money, the buyers pay the fees. But it's you can see most positions are actually all in range if you look at the blue bar on this rectangle. So what we expect is that the how quickly positions will be rebalanced, how quickly they will be closed, and how quickly they will be kind of redeployed is going to be kind of a signal of people being kind of eager to make fees, not willing to leave money on the table and not do anything, I guess. So that's kind of the idea.
The traders right now in Panoptic are a lot smarter than the ones in the Uniswap pool.
Yeah, we're doing some on-chain investigation, and we should look at the average age of an LP position on Uniswap, but it's likely months. There might be a few that are opening and closing every day, but there's one of them that they manage. But those total number of open positions, it's very, very old.
Yeah, they're a lot more passive in the Uniswap pool than the traders on Panoptic. They're much more active. And also the utilization on the Bitcoin side was a bit higher. So using the same knowledge you just imparted on us, Does that mean that traders are slightly more bearish on the Bitcoin ETH price?
Oh, yes, yeah. So the utilization
Panoptic.
seems to indeed be higher. So there might be more. So in that pair, if you borrow BTC, it's because you think the price is going to go up. If you borrow ETH, you think the ratio is going to go down. So what we see is that there is actually quite a bit of puts being sold, meaning that you have liquidity that is waiting for the price to go up. If you look at the range, so I would say that indeed people may be expecting a reversal of the ratio of these positions. This is one a kind of clear example, and yeah, you can monitor everybody's position. So I'm taking a sneak peek of what this person has done, but they hope the ratio is going to go up. So they created a position with a range. They're earning fees now. They made like again 0.5% in a few days. But the key point is that if the price goes up, if the ratio recovers, they get a profit and they can realize this. If the price goes down, then unfortunately, and as it has, they started here, it went down here. They are losing a little bit, but the fees are offsetting that loss. But the end goal for most of these users is going to be to have the price go up when you sell a put. So that's one example of that.
Thanks for showing that. Also, just want to call out, I love this on-chain blue thing that you can do with the Panoptic UI. There's no secrets on Panoptic. You can really see every person's portfolio and position. You probably can't see it because the banner is covering it, but when you click on a position, it says like you're now spectating this person, almost like a video game. You know,
Yeah,
after you die and then you come
yeah,
back.
you're in spectator
So,
mode, so you
yeah,
can watch
spectator
in
mode.
real time. Oh, all right.
And it just makes it so easy for the non-data scientists, to be able to really analyze the markets and positions. You can I don't know of any other exchange where you can really dive into the details of other people's positions without being a subgraph wizard or whatever. Here you can do it, without any coding skills.
Yeah, and this is because it's free, it's available, freely accessible. I mean, so that's why we make it so. But at the end of the day, it's also sometimes useful to know, okay, what's the other person doing? Because you're selling an option and someone is buying it, and you yourself may be buying an option, and you need to know who's on the other side. So what we allow is that as an option seller, you choose a range, you stay in that range, but you can also see who else is participating. So in that specific case, the users, there's one person that sold a bunch of options and a few people are buying it. So you can see who's on the other side. And there's this kind of label here. You may be able to liquidate someone or manage the position sometimes. So that's also something you need to know. You need to be able to keep track of all your funds and wherever all the liquidity has been going. But yeah, interesting. But yeah, so that's kind of the brief overview. I think the Panoptic interface is kind of, a lot, I'd say, if you're not coming in from the options trading world. And one thing that I always say is that the UX on the options is horrendous in TradFi. You go to Schwab or Fidelity, there's no way you can make money because they almost hide information from you. So here we're taking the approach of trusting our users to be smart enough to figure it out. This content is part of this to help you also understand all the subtleties, but also have this be kind of the level of transparency of information that, again, most protocols should be held at. You need to be able to show everything that you need to be successful. If you do a half measure, might be simpler to follow, but it might not be. It might be more difficult to be profitable. So that's kind of our view. So all of what you'll see if you click around might seem opaque. We'll be producing a lot of content, and maybe we'll crop this live stream for specific bites. But at the end of the day, we just want to make sure that users can appreciate options and in a way that is kind of allowing them to be profitable and not just kind of losing money and then never coming back type of thing.
Yeah, it can be easy, but then if you're down 50%, you won't come back. So the site might seem hard, but I do appreciate all the tools that it has, and I really like your approach of helping really empower people. to be able to trade and trade in a way that is smart and makes sense, you know, and that has a lot to do with sizing and everything, but also just having the tools to be able to actually put in those trades and figure out the markets and how they're working, like you're showing here.
Yeah, and I think the at the end of the day, when people are experienced, we want to hear from you guys, and you can brag on the option hour about your biggest trade or need help with managing a position. If you know Tasty Trade and Tasty Live, they do a similar thing in TradFi, so we also want to get this on the DeFi side. Um, Again, there's a lot of content to go through at first, but then once we've gone over all the aspects, today went over the market page. Probably next time we'll do the trade page, the dashboard. All of this will be kind of how we prep users for trading on Panoptic, but afterwards we'll also kind of do research because some of these things we don't know ourselves. So that's going to be an interesting kind of journey for all users for sure. Oh, I think you're muted. Brendan, yep.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. We're also trying to make the app easier, of course, for beginners to onboard them. But these options hours will be deep dives and where you can really learn. So also check out our docs page if you have any questions on using the app. We have some videos there, some really nice documented video walkthroughs of how to get onboarded onto the app and start trading. And we have written guides as well. So that's the docs.panoptic.xyz. Check that out.
Yeah. I guess we're the options are last 30 minutes. So in that case, we'll probably wrap it up very soon. But any last comment, Brendan, as well before we wrap up, or is everything good?
We just had a last question, just clarifying. Next week, are you gonna go through the trade page on Panoptic for
Maybe
users?
I'm traveling next week, but someone from the team should do it as well. So yeah, we'll keep this schedule going, and it's gonna be on Discord and YouTube. So if you're part of our community, more than welcome to come in on Discord, and then you have this kind of be the home base, I guess, for some of this. But it's recorded on YouTube as well. So even if it's async, we may be publishing stuff weekly. It could be even more frequently than weekly. Maybe we'll do office hours. Again, I used to be a professor, so just having the Discord channel open, have people trickling in and out if they have questions. And again, I'll be more than happy to kind of help people get onboarded and also kind of trading. So yeah.
Sweet. Well, we're very excited. Thank you all who joined. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, panoptic_XYZ, and jump into our Discord channel to keep updated. You can ask questions anytime. More than happy to help with your trading questions. So we'll see you all next week for options hour number 29. And thank you for coming. A great one.
Of course. All right. Thanks very much, everyone.